Welcome, my friends, back to Beyond the Well, where forgotten histories and untold legends awaken. I never expected to find that well, hidden deep in the woods behind my house. But when I touched its sacred water, I saw more than my own reflection. I saw another world. A world shaped by light and shadow, by heroes and tyrants, by choices that still echo through time. Join me as I uncover the stories of Aldarion that lie beyond the well. The Branding, Episode 2, A Pact in the Dark. The night was still. No wind stirred the branches. No owl called through the trees. Only the crackling of Brennar's dying campfire filled the silence. The man before him, tall, shadow-cloaked, his face just visible in the pale moonlight, stood motionless, his eyes studying Brennar with a quiet intensity. "You have strength," the man said again, his voice smooth and deliberate. "But strength alone is not enough." Brennar's grip on his newly fashioned staff tightened. He didn't know who this man was or how long he had been watching. Every instinct told him to be wary. But something else in the way the man spoke, the way he held himself, made it impossible to ignore him. "Who are you?" Brennar asked, his voice low and uncertain. The man stepped forward just enough for the firelight to touch the edge of his hood. His face was pale, sharp-featured, his eyes gleaming like coals buried deep beneath the embers. "A guide," he said simply. "A teacher. Someone who knows your pain." Brennar's throat tightened. "You don't know anything about me." A small, knowing smile flickered at the man's lips. "Your brother was taken from you, murdered, and no one has answered for it. No justice, no vengeance." Brennar inhaled sharply. He took a step back, held his staff up defensively. "How do you know that?" "Oh, I know many things," the stranger said, unmoved. "I know that men like your father would have you wait, accept, kneel before fate, and let the world move on as if nothing happened." Then his voice dropped lower, each word a whisper laced with venom. "But I know the truth. The strong do not wait. They do not kneel. They take." Brennar's pulse pounded in his ears. The words struck deep. Every muscle in his body screamed at him to push this man away, to deny what he was saying. But the darker side of him, the part that had been burning since Garrick's death, whispered that the stranger was right. "What are you offering?" he asked, his voice barely more than a breath. The stranger's smile widened. "A simple path forward. Power beyond anything you've been offered." He extended a hand, gesturing towards the darkness beyond the fire. "Come, I will show you." Brennar hesitated, his mother's words from earlier still lingering in the back of his mind. "I will always love you, no matter what." But love hadn't saved Garrick, and it wouldn't give him the strength to avenge him either. So, without another word, he stepped past the fire and followed the stranger into the woods. The deeper they went, the colder the night became. The trees grew denser, their branches intertwining above them like skeletal fingers, blocking out the moon. Brennar felt something shift in the air around them, a heavy presence pressing in on his chest. They came to a clearing. In the center stood a jagged stone altar, buried half in roots and moss, as if the forest had tried to swallow it. The ground around it was scorched black. The stranger stepped forward and placed a hand on the altar's surface. A faint hum filled the air, like a distant echo of something ancient and hungry. "This," the stranger said, "is a place of power, a place where bonds are forged, where strength is earned." He turned back to Brennar, his eyes gleaming. "And tonight, you will claim yours. Brennar swallowed hard. What do I have to do? The stranger reached into his cloak and pulled out something long and wrapped in cloth. He unwrapped it slowly, revealing an old, gnarled staff, blackened as if burned, its surface etched with strange twisting runes. It looked dead, lifeless. "This is a weapon of true power," the stranger murmured, "but it is empty. It must be bound." Brennar furrowed his brow. "Bound to what?" The stranger smiled. "To you." He withdrew a small dagger from his belt and held it out. Its blade was dark and the edge wicked sharp. "Carve your mark into the wood," he instructed. "Then offer it your blood. Only then will it awaken." Brennar stared at the dagger, his heart pounding. Something in his gut twisted, a warning. But his mind, his soul, had already crossed the threshold of choice. He had come this far, and there was no way he was going to turn back now. He took the dagger. Kneeling before the altar, he took the staff and slowly, deliberately, carved a symbol in the wood. A simple mark, a circle with crossing lines through it. A brand that would make it his. His hands were steady, his breath even. And when the carving was finished, he pressed the tip of the dagger against his palm. And for the first time he hesitated. The stranger crouched beside him, his voice barely a whisper. "Do not fear pain, Brennar. It is only the price of strength." With a deep breath, Brennar gritted his teeth, dragged the blade across his skin. Blood welled dark and warm. He turned his palm over, letting it drip onto the staff. The wood absorbed it instantly. A deep, resonating hum filled the air, and a faint glow pulsed from the carved runes. The dead wood came alive beneath his fingers, a warmth spreading through it, up his arms and into his very core. Power. His breath hitched as he gripped the staff, feeling it respond to him, feeling it recognize him. This power was his. Then a surge of energy poured into his hands as if they gripped the staff, and he felt a burn go up his arms. The pain seared into his skin as a black, snake-like pitch came out of the gnarled staff and began to wind its way around his wrists and up his arms. Brennar screamed as he smelled the burning flesh as the pitch engraved its way into his skin. The pitch then turned to a deep red and exploded, leaving a dark tattoo in the same shape of that snake crawling up his forearms. Brennar fell to his knees, drenched in sweat. He looked up at the shadowed man, his chest heaving. Then the stranger's voice came low and satisfied. "It is done." Brennar barely had time to register what had happened before the stranger lunged. He barely managed to raise his staff in time to block the blow, the impact rattling through his arms. The stranger grinned, stepping back into the ready stance, his staff poised. "Power must be tested," he hissed. "Show me what you've gained." Brennar's grip tightened. Instinct took over. He struck first, a powerful overhead swing. The stranger dodged it effortlessly, his movements like liquid shadow. He countered, sweeping low. Brennar jumped back, barely avoiding a strike that would have knocked his legs out from under him. Again and again their weapons clashed, but something was different. His staff, it was bigger. Somehow it had grown in size. Yet the staff was now lighter in his hands than it should have been, as if it moved with him rather than being wielded by him. The dark whispers curled at the edge of his consciousness, guiding his movements. Then he saw an opening. With a roar, Brennar swung with all his might, the stranger barely moving out of the way in time as his massive staff came down and split a stone, sending a shockwave through the ground and scattering dirt and leaves. The stranger held up a hand. "Enough." Brennar panted, his chest heaving. He felt alive. He felt strong. The stranger nodded, his eyes gleaming. you are ready for the next step. The night had grown deeper, the sky an endless abyss, and Brennar stood at the edge of the clearing, staring back towards the direction of his village. He could still turn back, he could still return home, but he wouldn't. "This is only the beginning," the stranger said, stepping up beside him. "You must leave the past behind. Your family, your home, they will only hold you back." The stranger turned and, without looking back, started walking deeper into the forest. "Come, Master Brennar, come with me, and I will show you your destiny." Brennar hesitated for just a moment. Then, without a word, he turned away from the village and followed the stranger into the darkness. As they walked, his fingers brushed against something in his pack. The note. His mother's note. He pulled it out, unfolded it in the dim light. Her delicate handwriting stood out. "My son, no matter where you go, no matter what you do or become, you will always be loved. You will always be mine." His heart skipped at the word become. Impossible. How would she have? Brennar's fingers clenched. He stuffed the note back into his pack and pressed forward. The village, the light, his past, fading behind him. Ahead, only a cold, dark desire to wreak justice on those who had wronged him and his brother. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for coming with me beyond the well. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking, following, or subscribing. And if you have a moment, I would love a review. Your feedback truly makes a difference. If you want to dive deeper into the well, visit beyondthewell.net for show notes, transcripts, maps, character descriptions, and much, much more. And until next time, keep seeking, keep dreaming, and keep telling your story. Bye.